All right, and we're live.
We're here.
We got our first guest on the pod, Carver Louis,
What's going on, guys?
fresh off the plane from Tennessee.
Right out of Nashville.
But so we have Carver here joining us.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I'm not a new dad.
Yeah, not a dad.
I'm going to be a new dog dad, but not a new human dad. So
And for you pet owners out there, might be just as much work.
absolutely, I'm nervous and excited, and I'm sure having that responsibility is close to having a child, but not quite.
Yeah. I mean, like, funny story, me and my wife were actually talking about getting a puppy because we had moved into a house last year, almost around this time, actually.
Mhm.
And she really wanted a puppy. And then we found out she was pregnant, and I was like, let's pump the brakes on the dog a little bit. I don't want to be doing two things at once.
I was gonna say I could only imagine trying to raise a newborn and if you got a brand new puppy all at the same time. I mean,
Yeah,
they're potty training at the same time.
it's pretty rough.
It's like any newborn animal. They're always trying to figure out new things. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Babies. I'm sure you've probably seen it with your boy. Is like, I'm sure he's just exploring everything with his mouth.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's the thing is like newborns and animals obviously, but everything goes in the mouth because they're seeing what it is, they're feeling what it is, and
Uh-huh.
so it's crazy.
It's pretty cool, and like he's getting to the point where he can hold his head up now.
Oh, nice.
And so like I'm seeing now that he's just looking around. He's like exploring everything.
Yeah.
Like he's like, Dad, I don't want to be looking at you. I'm looking over here and over here.
He's starting to get like his sense of area, like his what is it? Kind of like his cognitive like feeling in space, and so that's so awesome.
He's starting to see who's holding him, and
he's like, oh, all right, the kitchen's over there.
Oh yeah. And then like he'll make just random sounds that he figures out, or like we'll make a sound and he's trying to copy it, and like it's the coolest thing.
I was gonna say, and he's only a couple months old.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, almost 4 months old. By the time this comes out, it'll be about 4 months old. So
yeah,
awesome. It's exciting.
I love it.
But anyway, Christmas time's upon us.
Yes, Christmas is 2 days away?
Yeah, 2 days away. By the time this comes out, it'll be the day after Christmas. So sure everybody's preparing, but
yes, we hope everyone has had a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
But no, man, I was gonna say I'm sure this Christmas is looking a lot different than last year's Christmas was.
Oh, for sure.
I was gonna say, what's well, obviously biggest change, have a child now. How was that gearing up for that?
So gearing up for that, I kind of talked about it a little bit in the last pod, but it's fun. Like buying clothes and stuff. Like I wasn't the best gift giver in past years. Like I try my best, but I'm sure all the guys out there could kind of relate.
Yeah. Like
you go shopping for, your wife or girlfriend or whatever, and you end up coming back with more shit for yourself. But
it happens. It's all right, guys. Golf clubs are okay.
It's okay. But anyway, like I just got online for Black Friday. I was like, oh, I'll look and find some stuff, and I ended up buying them like some little Jordans and like a whole fit for Christmas. And
you went all out.
Oh yeah, you like, I don't know. It's just fun.
That's awesome though. I mean, well, it's like it's a new feeling, and so I think that really sparks it all up because like you said, like this year, me and my girlfriend, we were just sitting there and like, what should we get each other? Because it's not that we don't want to surprise each other or whatever, but it's always like that thought in the mind as we grow into becoming adults. It's like, oh, like I don't need these things.
Yeah.
I don't need certain things. I don't need crazy gifts because, like for me, for example, I play music for everyone who's watching. And it's like, if I want something, that I feel will suit me, like a guitar, for example, this last summer, I'm like, see a guitar, I want that. Okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah, especially for the business. Like,
it's always like, and so it's just crazy because it's getting to that point in time where it's like, if I want something, I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
And so that's why when Christmas comes around, it's like, oh, what do you want? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
no, that's crazy. But yeah, I can only imagine trying to gear up for for a newborn.
It's tough because like we did that same thing, me and my wife, and I was like, well, what do you want? What would you use? And she does the same thing. Like, we just got done watching The Grinch.
Oh yes,
A
classic.
lot of useless shit that people buy each other that ends up in the trash, but don't want to repeat that. But
it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Or it gets regifted.
Yeah, exactly. Some white elephant gifts. But
that's the best.
But yeah, so gearing up for Christmas with the child, it's a little different. I'm excited for next year because he'll be running around. He'll be a little bit older.
I was gonna say, because he'll be over 1 year old, just barely, and I feel like because in the new year or like the newborn stage, obviously, 4 months. I don't know about you, but I definitely can't remember being a 4-month-old.
No,
you know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things where you're doing it and you're doing it for that kind of happiness in his face right there. But it's mostly for your enjoyment. I feel like
it's for sure.
Yeah, like at that point in time in your life, and then obviously, like 1 year old, 2 years old. Like I still remember some things from 4 years old. That's about as far back as I go.
Yeah, me too.
Gosh, football. That's all I can say.
Yeah, yeah. No, like it's mainly for me, like the little Jordans. To you dads out there, the little Jordans, they work perfect for as a child's, like little Jordans.
There you go.
But you could keep one, and a Scotty Cameron fits inside it just nicely. So
I like it.
And then you could always be like, oh yeah, it's my son's little Jordan.
I like a nice little putter cover.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect.
It's the sickest putter cover you could get.
It has to be a blade though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not good for me.
No, I have the little mallet style, but may as well make that purchase too.
I was gonna say.
We'll have the cover for it. So
nothing's wrong with getting a nice little Scotty.
Yeah. That's the goal.
I love it. We're right on. I was gonna say, well, since we're on the topic of golf, I know that the last couple seasons, I'm pretty sure that the people who are watching know that we golf quite a bit, or at least try to be.
Try to.
I know you touched base about it in your last episode about golf and stuff, but like, are you gearing up for golf as much as you used to? Because there was a time, for those who don't know, there was a time where we spent like all winter going to this indoor golf simulator, and our goal is just to get as close to probably 85 that we could.
Goal was to break 80.
Goal is to break 80. Well, it did not happen.
No, got close.
But because obviously I'm not here anymore. Are you still kind of doing that every now and then at all?
So I was actually, and about 6 months into the pregnancy is when I really kind of stopped.
Gotcha.
Just because I wanted to be here and help my wife and everything, and I'd get out there as much as I could,
No, absolutely.
But going forward, like I'm not doing the winter simulator or whatever. I wish I could, but like
I know how it goes. Time gets away from you, especially having a newborn.
Oh, it really does. Yep. And then God, what was I gonna say? Anyway, like going forward, like I'll get out there as much as I can this year and try my best, but I'm definitely not gonna shoot for 80.
No, I was like, these days it's so funny because I'm like, man, I'm not a professional golfer. I'm a weekend warrior. I go out and have fun. And even that, sometimes I'm even like once a month golfer now. And it's so weird because, heck, 2 years ago I was golfing every day. And we were close to the 80. We were close. Didn't do it.
83. That's as close as we got.
But it's funny to me because it's so crazy how, once certain events in your life happen, how not drastically your life changes, but more so what your focus in life goes towards.
Yeah. Because like touching on that, like even moving to Nashville, how was like keeping up with golf after you moved?
I was gonna say now it's pretty much non-existent. You know what I mean? Because it's like now that I'm in the city that I feel like I need to be in to reach my goals, both career wise and musically. It's just one of those things where I'd much rather go and try to meet new people within the industry out and about, out in town, rather than spending that 3 hours to go to the course.
Yeah.
And like I just said earlier, your focus on things changes. It's not necessarily like your perspective outlook on what you want to do, but just your focus on what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And that I'll kind of have that same thing like with doing this podcast. Like I could either go spend 3-4 hours out, and like I will every now and then, like it's fun to get out.
Yeah.
But like I could spend that 2 or 3 hours editing, or
Yeah.
like researching topics.
Absolutely. I was like, you have those little goals that you want to reach, and it's that time, that the little bit of tedious time, extra time that you have, especially with a newborn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like you got to use it wisely.
Oh yeah.
And you got to do what you want to do that you believe is going to have a more positive impact on your life.
Yeah, for
Now,
sure.
don't get me wrong, like going hitting 18 with the boys, drinking a few brewskis, like that's good quality heart and soul time.
Yeah.
So it just all depends on the give and take of what day that you want to do it on.
Much needed. Got to plan it out.
Absolutely.
I found like planning stuff with people with a newborn helps a lot.
Absolutely. I could only imagine, because you guys are on such a schedule yourselves, like already just having a newborn, that it's to even try to do anything as a family and be able to bring the baby along or find a sitter if you need to.
Yeah.
Like I could only imagine having to make sure that your schedule is set.
Yeah, it's tough. Like thankfully her family, thank you if you're watching this, but like they're like Drew's with them now, my wife, and they watch the baby and kind of they help out a lot. Like if I need to go to the gym, a lot of the times I'll drop my wife and the baby off at their house, and they'll help kind of take care of him and kind of watch him and help give us that time. So it's really nice.
That's awesome.
For anybody out there, I say like if you're having a baby, you really need to find like a good community. So like either your wife has a sister, your family, her family, your family. Like I think you need a good community around you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things that I think that we've always held, real close in value. For those of you who are new and watching, we're cousins. We're first cousins, and it's like growing up, I've always believe family's kind of everything, and I always think like being able to rely on your family in certain times of not necessarily need, but just stages in your life.
Yeah,
and right now you're in a whole new stage in your life.
Yeah.
So I completely agree. It's good to have, as we say in the music industry, it's good to have a good solid team around you.
Yeah.
So.
It really is, and like you could carry that into anything. Like I'm sure in your music industry.
Yeah, we have family, in the music industry, and that goes from the people that you play with on stage to the people off the stage who are in the back, like even your merch, your merch seller, your photographer, your management, booking agents, whatever that is. Those are all part of your group, your family, and in the long scheme of things, you always want to find those people who that you can trust and rely on.
Yeah.
Just same as when it comes to taking care of young ones.
Oh yeah. And like that's something I've always noticed being around your music and like being around the stage and everything is you treat your photographers, everybody around you, the sound check people, like like just like family, like part of the band. And
yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, because like when it comes to the music kind of side of things, like for me, my music is like my child. And that's like the best way that I can say it is like everyone who's around who's willing to help me try and get that to a certain point, like to a new stage in its growth, or to like as far as my career goes and stuff. Anyone who's willing to be able to assist me in any way, I always respect them, and just let them know that what they're doing means something.
Yeah.
And I mean, and obviously that goes in it with your normal family, with taking care of a child. You always say thank you, and you always let it be known that you're truly appreciative of them for being there for you. So
because like I've noticed like that sound coordinator putting in that extra little tune, or that photographer getting that one photo you could post. Like I've started to do like speed and agility training on the side, and like it's tough. Like it would help to get that extra picture, like that extra little thing to help promote it, or like
for like your advertising kind of aspect goes.
So like that extra little bit that they can do to help, or like help watch the kid, or just any aspect of life, like it helps way more than you think.
Absolutely. I mean visual effects these days, I mean podcasts too, they go a long way in today's society, and it's always good to, like you said, have those people, or those, I don't know, those images and such to really help propel you to, I don't say new heights, but definitely new places
Yeah.
for sure, as far as like a marketing aspect goes.
Yeah, for sure. And like I've noticed that like having a baby,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I want him to be able to kind of push forward and like push himself into
Yeah.
new aspects. And so like even doing this podcast, like at first I wasn't comfortable getting in front of a camera, or
Yeah.
like afraid of saying some dumb shit online and like it being there forever. And like I want to show him like I'm like you need to be comfortable in doing it and kind of show an example. And I'm sure like getting into the music industry and like getting on stage for the first time wasn't easy. And like
No, man. I mean, even there's still times today where it's, I before I get up on a stage, it's, am I ready to do this? It's like, obviously, like, yeah, you've traveled here, you've got here, like you're playing this show, but like we've had some very amazing opportunities to play, certain music festivals, or open up for certain artists, and play from a range of like almost 10,000 people, and out there in the audience, um, and it's kind of it's kind of interesting.
yeah,
You have your whole routine that you do before you get going on it.
yeah.
Like, I do a stretching routine just to kind of get my blood flowing,
Mm-hmm.
but that always marks back to like younger, growing up playing sports. You always stretch before you go and play a game,
Oh yeah,
and so it's kind of like, yeah, kind of sort of that, but yeah, it's definitely a different feeling as far as that goes.
that's cool.
And be trying to be prepared for it.
Yeah, for sure. Just make sure this is still recording. But sorry, we had troubles in the past with recording issues.
It's all good.
But so along with that, have you noticed a difference in like atmosphere that you play in? So like when you play like in the complex or in an amphitheater outside, like have you noticed a different kind of like feeling, I guess, so to say, when you get on stage?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say every venue kind of has like its different things that makes a venue unique. Whether it's how the venue looks when you get there, obviously, how the people who work at the venue treat you,
Mm-hmm.
all that really goes to show when you're getting ready to play a show, and it can really reflect on an artist when they're playing those shows.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, so far, we've been very blessed with some really great people that we've worked with. I don't have too much to gripe about, but it can, we, as far as the growing aspect goes, from where we first started to
Mm-hmm.
where we are now, big change, and it's always goes to show, like, when you're growing in a career, and not just a career, but when you're growing in life,
Yeah.
you're always going to have those little changes. But it's awesome because it's when you start trying to surround yourself with people who are in the same stage of life as you,
Mm-hmm.
and who are trying to reach their goals and have like-minded goals as you,
Yeah.
that you're going to see big changes. And I really believe that I've seen that happen, as far as the growth goes. As far as venues go, instead of playing like a barbecue joint at some corner street,
Mm-hmm.
we're playing like an actual music venue that has a capacity of X amount of people, and they're wanting you on the bill, and you're bringing your fans
Yeah.
to the show, rather than, oh, I'm playing at a barbecue joint and the people who are going to be watching me are just people who are eating dinner.
Have no fucking clue.
Yeah. It's like they showed up to eat,
Mm-hmm.
rather than to see a show. So, like, definitely growing as far as that goes. But yeah, there's definitely some really cool takeaways from different venues and atmospheres that they provide.
That's
for sure.
cool.
Yeah.
So something we talk about on this podcast that I kind of talked about last time is like spending money on different products. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't cheap out. Don't cheap out on like car seats or strollers or something like that.
Yeah.
Does that reflect? I'm kind of learning it with the podcast setup. We were talking about it before.
Yep.
Like I want to spend some money on some different mics or different like soundboards and stuff like that. And like, I think it's worth it to spend the extra $100 now instead of dealing with different issues. Have you found that like is in your success with the music industry, like spending more money on different producers or like mic setups and stuff like that?
Yeah, like in it's really interesting because there's always that saying, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
And so like as far as, it's weird because in the music industry, you you really have to find the things that work. That sounds so weird, but like for example, like a $200 guitar could sound like a $2,000 guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and I know this because I bought a $200 guitar that sounds like a 2,000. That sounds like my $2,000 guitar.
We got one right there.
Just
Just kidding.
Yeah. But like, so like as far as instrumentation goes, it's all on your ear. It's all how you hear it and what you perceive as, oh, that's a sound that I really want, or that's a sound that I really like. As far as like people working with people, I wouldn't always say that you get what you pay for as far as production goes.
Okay.
Because I mean, I've had like the absolute pleasure of working with some amazingly talented producers
Mm-hmm.
who produced, platinum records and have worked with some amazing artists that I'm sure a lot of these people have known.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've cut songs with said guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've also cut songs with guys who are kind of in the earlier stages of their career.
Yeah.
And now they're the guys, now they're the people that the artist would love to have produce their stuff. And it's so funny because like a lot of my songs that I have out now, if when you think of like a record being done, what do you think of? Like, where does it happen?
Like a studio.
Yeah, like a super nice studio, right? Like it's
picturing like Dr. Dre
Yeah,
behind
like
the control board and
yeah, you have the mixing console, you have bells and whistles to the ear. It's like the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. Yeah, so like it's so funny because the way that I've recorded a lot of my stuff is with my good buddy Matt. I love him. Shout out Matt Giroux. Awesome guy. But like we recorded a lot of my stuff in a portion of his old house that was his garage.
Oh no
and it was
shit!
Just literally us, and then he had an interface, his computer, and then I was cutting vocals in like this garage space that had some like foam on the walls.
No shit.
Yeah, it was like he made his own little home studio, and he hustled that way. And it's so crazy because it's like now he's signed with a great agency, and he's like producing tracks for a guy named Josh Ross, who's phenomenal, and working alongside, like Nickelback.
Holy
It's
shit!
just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and mind you, like back then, like Matt is awesome. Like he really treated me like family. Didn't ever like charge me too crazy amount. Like I've worked with producers who are like well into the $2,000 for one song.
Wow.
But that's not bad. Like industry standard, like a signed artist would be like, that's nothing, man.
Yeah.
Because they're taking a couple days of Ocean Way.
That's a like weekend cut.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's easy. But like for unsigned artists, independent artists, if we can get a good deal and get some great sound, or you find that guy who is willing to, he's in the come up, but he's fantastic at what he does, and what he does is out of a garage.
Yeah.
Like, heck yeah, like I'm gonna trust this guy, because he's being great to me. I'm gonna try and be great back to him and record multiple songs with him.
Yeah.
So
let him work on it, and
yeah. So like that's like as far as like that kind of side of things goes, is like you get what you pay for. Now I'm sure it's completely different when it comes to car seats.
Yeah, it is. Like time wise, for sure. Yeah, there's some that are a pain in the ass that are cheap. But...
I was like, I can only imagine. I'm like, I don't even have to worry about car seats right now. I'm looking at like dog crates. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, this little wire one looks good. And then I'm looking at this other one that looks, I'm like, ooh, I like the look of that though. And it's like $500. I'm like, ooh.
You're like, oh fuck. And like, I'm sure you'll find like maybe some will be easy to take through the airport or different to carry. And
exactly. So it's like, I feel like those kind of like safety feature things for an actual living being are much different.
Oh yeah, for a little baby.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, what's funny is I don't want to get too off track, but I did have a question coming on to this that I was really curious about.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, new dad. Walk me through the process of figuring out what you're gonna name your child, your newborn child. How was that? I've always been curious on that because obviously I'm not a new dad.
Yeah.
And my dog's name is spelled the same that the people who I'm buying him from named him. So
Hell yeah.
I was like, I'm not changing the names, so I didn't have to worry about picking out. Like, how did you pick out?
Man, it was tough. Me and my wife went back and forth a lot on that actually for months and months, and she had a whole list of like 12 names that didn't even make the final the final decisions. But kind of more just compromise, like compromising with my wife and deciding on like having some vetoes. We definitely had some vetoes because like she's like, I like this name. I'm like, I don't like that name because I know some dude named that, and I don't, But that sounds stupid, but like everybody goes through. It's like, no, that fucker he was kind of bitch.
Like, I don't know if I want my child named that name.
Yeah, for real.
That's so funny.
But so like it ultimately came down to like I didn't want to name him my same name because I don't really like that. Like I want him to have his own identity. And
you don't want him to be a second.
Yeah, a second. Like I thought it would be cool to have the Roman numeral on the back of like a jersey one day, but like
I love it.
But like, what's my nickname that you usually call me?
BJ?
Yeah. So I wanted something with the same initials.
Okay.
So I was like, so that way it kind of has that same like he's my son, like that same feel of naming him after you, but he's his own person. So we started kind of looking into it as like, all right, let's look at names with an E.
Yeah.
And so my wife came up with a couple, I came up with a couple, and like you just scroll TikTok. And we kind of came on Ezra, and I was like, oh, I like the sound of that. Like short, simple, like kind of like a masculine name.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how, everybody is these days, but like
I
want a masculine name. And
I feel you.
Still has that EJ, and like you could call him Ez or EZ or like a lot of nicknames could come from that. EJ.
A lot of fun things, yeah.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say he's not like me, and he won't get picked on. Carver out there carving a pumpkin or something like that.
Shut up.
But going through the schoolyard, having to deal with that kind of stuff.
Better than mine. Mine was Emilio.
I love it.
Right.
I love it.
It's pretty funny now, but Mexican. But
awesome.
Yeah. So kind of just a lot of back and forth, and like we came on Ezra probably like 2 months before he was even born, but it was like, okay, I think this is what we're gonna name him, but we're just gonna have it in the back of our head and like still be open to like if we hear something or like something that we see.
Absolutely. I like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
A lot of lists on TikTok you could look up, like boys' names for like trending.
Like scrolling through, it's like the old school baby books that you could go buy from Walmart.
Pretty much, you search them up on Google what the name means.
TikTok, the new baby name book.
Yeah, literally, for real. Like, and like you could search trending names. Like if you don't want to be trendy and be like, hey, this is off the list. This is off the list.
I was gonna say that's really nice actually though. And it's so crazy. Like, I mean, I can only imagine, these days. Because I know, like, a lot of people want to be unique, like, want to find a unique name or find something that they feel fits what, I mean, it's their name. It's going to be their name. That's how they're going to know themselves. That's how everyone's going to know them.
Yeah.
That's so wild, though.
Yeah, it's wild because, like, I hadn't heard it before, really, only just once. And we named him Ezra, and then all of a sudden I hear Ezra everywhere.
Yeah.
There's like a Star Wars movie on Disney Channel or Disney Plus, whatever, and the main character's name's Ezra. So I was like, what the fuck? But I still love it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I love it, man. That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm glad that now I know.
Yeah, and then we kind of like picked it. Like I was really pushing for Ezra just because I liked it a lot, and so I was like, all right, like you have main influence over like the middle name and like compromise and like
I feel you.
Because we wanted to name him my middle name at first, but then my wife really wanted to name the middle name after like her father and brother.
Gotcha.
And so I find compromise in a relationship, especially when you're having a baby, is the best thing.
I was gonna say, and I figure when it comes to naming your child, You gotta be able to, like you said, compromise and make sure that your opinions matter rather than just saying you're always right, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Just-
Because in the end of it, he has my last name. So
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
whoa!
I'm just kidding.
Whoa, blown up. That's
But
so funny.
yeah, so names are fun though,
That's
because
cool.
and like you just kind of workshop them. Like if you're thinking of a name, you just kind of say it to yourself, like even to your wife, like, oh, you know, I don't know, like Bob, like just throw out like a random name and be like, oh yeah, like how's Bob doing today? And like I like the name, I'm just it's not fitting in.
No, I feel you. I was gonna say you, and you wanted to feel like I said, like unique to the family, or and make sure that it fits in context. So I actually really like that. That's a good. That's good to know,
Yeah.
especially as someone who doesn't have children yet. It's good to know.
Yet, keyword. Just kidding.
Yet. Remember, this podcast isn't just for new dads.
Yeah. Or that we know of. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You never know out there.
Oh, man. In this world, you never know.
Yeah. But
that's too funny.
Yeah. Anyway, what's question I had is like, what's winter like and Christmas like in Tennessee?
Oh, it's so much different. Like out here in Utah, like we just got some snow today. Luckily, because I was when I landed last night, it was dry as a bone. I was like, man, where's the snow?
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I was like, growing up, I was so used to like whiteout snow days, and it just coming down and it's all magical. It looks like a Hallmark movie going on. But yeah, no, it's much different because out there, I mean, they necessarily don't get snow. It's very rare. And so it's just weird because you see Christmas lights going on. There's no snow. And it just doesn't feel like it's quite Christmas time.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like out here, like now that there's snow, obviously, it definitely feels like it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the snow makes a huge difference. And I will say, like being back home where all the family is and where my parents are and all my friends, it feels really nice to be home for Christmas because I don't know, it just this town has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, Nashville's great. I have great friends out there. I spent Christmas out there last year, but I still had like my sister came out from Charlotte and my parents flew out from Utah. And so it felt like Christmas there because the family was there.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, I don't know. I always feel like home for the holidays is best.
Yeah.
Because there's no place like the place you grew up in.
Exactly.
So.
And like, what's the vibe like? Because like I went out to Nashville, I think a little over a year ago, but like it seems like a lot of people travel there from Nashville. Like I met people from Nashville when I was going to restaurants and people that work there for long times. But as you're out and about, you're like, hey, are you from Nashville? And they're, oh, no, we're from Florida.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people go to Nashville to hang out and then they leave after a while. So like
big tourist town.
Yeah, big tourist town. So like in Nashville, is there a lot of like Christmas spirit or?
It's really interesting. So like I feel for like all the people who live there full time, it's there. You can find things to do. So like the Grand Ole Opry, Gaylord Opry Hotel, they have like a big Christmas thing that they put on. There's like outdoor figure skaters that come out on the ice. There's a big indoor like ice sculpture thing, and it's really cool. Like they have stage out there for music. Obviously, Nashville's music city, but like that feels really, really cool. It's a really great thing to do, like family wise. And then like 2 weeks ago, we went down to this town called Franklin, which is about 40 minutes from where I live. And they had like a drive-through. Like, have you ever seen those drive-through lights that you can like take your car through? And
we actually went.
Like the light tunnels and stuff. Yeah. So like they have that kind of stuff there. But it's just so funny because to me, I feel like those were all I could really find. Besides like pop-up bars that are like Christmas themed bars for the season. Which I mean is great and all, like that's awesome. But for me, I feel like there wasn't a lot as like a family could do.
Yeah.
And I always kind of feel like that in a whole sense of Nashville, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
That there's not a whole lot that a family can really participate in,
Yeah.
unless it's like 4th of July and stuff, and like it's an all ages thing where it's the streets open and stuff that goes like that. At least compared, I won't say like in general to the rest of the United States. I'll just say like compared to what I grew up in.
Yeah.
Because like if we want to go do something Christmassy, we can go to the driving lights.
Yep.
Right. I'm pretty sure that Nashville has like a zoo lights thing, like how Utah Salt Lake has it. But like we have like the Gallivan Center for ice skating. We have the Olympic Oval for ice skating. We can go up to Park City. And Park City's a major ski town, and it's it's all lit up from head to toe, and there's tons of Christmas things to do up there. You can go to a lodge and they got some Christmas thing going out there, or you could go down to what is it, like Thanksgiving Point, and they have a massive Christmas thing there. You got the Tree of Life that's just in a park. And it's so crazy because it's like, to me, I feel like there's so many more Christmas things to do as a family as far as that goes. Here in Utah than there is out there. But like I said, that's just from my perspective. I'm sure that there's things that I haven't found in Nashville that families have seen. So, I don't know, but yeah, give or take, it's definitely Utah has my place for Christmas.
Like when I was growing up, a cute date was always like the temple lights, or like there's this new thing that my buddy at work did. You could go down to Provo and float the Provo River, and they have like lights along it and stuff, and you're in a boat, and like that seems kind of fun. Like I want to try that. Actually. Cold. Yeah.
Being on the lake.
Yeah.
Or like on the water. I mean. Man, I don't know if I could do that. I'd need like a big coat.
I know for sure. But
that's awesome though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do. You could go snowboarding. Like one thing that I want to get out and do, and we've talked about doing it while you're out here, is going out, hitting the slopes real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just growing up in Utah with that's like the outdoor sporting culture of Utah. I mean, because it's like, what is it, like the outdoor state? There's grown up with skiing, hiking, mountain biking, just everything outdoorsy. And it's really hard because like in Nashville, obviously they don't have ski resorts.
Yeah.
And so that is really big on me, like as far as the winter time frame, and to make it feel like it is winter. I'm so used to growing up going snowboarding, or like I have done in the last couple of years, switching over to going skiing.
Ooh, shit.
So it's like it's just hard because you don't have that stuff out there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it just like the other day I was like, man, it still feels like October.
Oh,
like it still feels like fall.
It's just fall is just dragging out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's because it's warmer, like I'm wearing a light jacket. I'm not having to wear a big old thick coat like I am out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got those little tiny differences.
Well, that's one thing I found when I moved to St. George for a year. When I went to Dixie, is like I'm still out in a short sleeve shirt and they're all bundled up, and it's winter to them, but I'm like, damn, this is just like October, September. Like
you're down there with the little elderly people.
I know, little elderly people and Californians, but like, I don't know. I like that snow, and like I used to not really like the winter, like the colds and stuff, but then I started snowboarding with you a couple of years ago, and like, man, you get up on that mountain and it's like, this is beautiful. Like if you haven't experienced it, you gotta go.
No, absolutely. I was gonna say, like, it really changes your perspective of the season when you go from not being outdoors in the wintertime to doing that. I really think it changes your perspective. Like I know, like the Olympic Oval in the winter, they always, or no, not just in the winter, but like all year round. But like hockey is always fun. Like the Grizzly games and stuff always come back because it's hockey season. And I know that like doing stuff like that, like going to a Grizzlies game, going ice skating. I know they have like curling classes. You know what I mean? Like for some people, they could find it in different activities. But still make it feel like, oh, it's wintertime, it's Christmas time. You know what I mean? It's the holiday season.
Yeah, the holiday season for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But I always feel like when you find whatever it is that you like to do in the winter, that's when you're actually gonna like it. Because I know like seasonal depression is like a big thing for people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it's a big thing for people who, just have kids.
Yeah.
Because they could have loved a season so much, and now that they have a child, like we were talking earlier, like their focus changes. And so I could see something like that being a roadblock for new moms and dads.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's like kind of like what you were saying in your last podcast. Like you gotta be able to make that time for yourself to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that's true, especially in certain seasons, especially in the wintertime,
Yeah.
because I know that there's, like I said, that seasonal depression that's super big in the wintertime because it's always dark and gloomy and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So try out something new. Try out snowboarding, try out skiing, try out curling.
Yeah, curling. Like, I don't know. Like, that's something I'm trying to super like stress, especially like even to my wife. I'm like, get out and go do something with your friends. Like,
Yeah.
go to a jazz game with your friends, or like do something. Get out, because like it's a huge stressor having a newborn
Yeah,
and like or a small infant, and that seasonal depression and like jobs and the holiday times. It all compounds, and it's like
gotta
you
be
need.
Gotta be able to make that time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, man, schedule a day you could go up and snowboard, or like scheduling, like I said earlier, like turn into like a planner, but like schedule that time for yourself and like just take a day.
Absolutely.
But I think that's super important. Like, I don't know, like especially with like work, like how I was just saying, like the workload, doing like editing, or like all compounds onto you, like just get out and do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I don't know how that feels yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'm gonna get just a taste
Yeah.
of it with the pup.
Uh-huh.
At least until he's potty trained and he's able to stay at home sometimes.
Well, and I'm sure you feel that with like the music, and I know you work a full-time job and everything. So like, I don't know, like how does that kind of play into your life?
Like being able to balance like the work life with the music life,
and like just finding time to like go
and
enjoy yourself, because like the music's almost like work in and of itself. Like I'm like you enjoy it, but like it's a whole nother.
Certain shows turn into being like a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially if you take it serious and like want to
like
excel.
If you want to be, to a certain level, and you expect a certain, level of yourself to perform at, definitely. Honestly, it's interesting because I still feel like I have the most fun, and I'm very blessed to be able to go out and sing and go out and perform and play. So a lot of times for me, when I'm able to go out and play, that is like my scheduled free time.
That's you getting out.
Yeah, that is me getting out and being able to go have fun. Even if it is for some rundown bar gig.
Yeah.
And I'm out there playing, but I'm able to play a song that lights someone's face up. Like, man, that sounded great. Like, I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs. Like being able to just have one of those moments, even if I just had one of those moments, and I didn't go big or do anything, and I was playing bar gigs for the rest of my life on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I didn't succeed, and obviously that's a whole different conversation. But like I didn't blow up. I didn't become uber famous. And if I still played the bar gigs every weekend, but still made at least one person in the crowd every weekend like feel something from the music, even if it's a cover song, even if it's not one of the songs that I've written, but they still had a good time, that would fulfill me.
Damn.
Like that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. I love to do it so much that as long as other people are enjoying it and having a good time, that makes me feel fulfilled.
So like going on that, that's why I started this podcast, is like, man, if I help one person out there, one new dad or someone just like want to come hang out and like listen for a week.
Yeah.
Even just one episode, like that's all, it's worth it to me.
Absolutely.
And like that's on a much smaller scale, but even if it's myself sometimes, like fuck, I just need to get out and like I just need to do something, get my mind off of it. But going on that, like when do you feel more loose, or when do you enjoy it more, like the bigger stages, or like you're saying like the smaller bar stages where you have a little more freedom?
Yeah, I mean there's definitely different contrasts of the two. Obviously, like one's more intimate and one's not, but I always feel like you can make the big shows intimate.
Okay.
In like there's a portion in our show, and you've seen it, where all the guys in the band, they walk off the stage and it's just me and a guitar, and that's my way of making it, as personal and try and connect with the audience as much as possible, and trying to transform like Country Fan Fest, for example, that happens out here in Utah. Trying to transform that massive stage where there's 7,000-8,000 people out in the crowd, and trying to make them feel like we are in a little tiny bar that only seats 150 people.
Uh-huh.
And that's it's I always feel like it's always how you present yourself in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, it was awesome. It's super cool whenever like people pull their phones out
Uh-huh.
and turn on the flashlight and wave it in the air, and
Man, that's
it
cool.
like lights up the night. That's how you know when you're really connecting people, and you're filling in those heartstrings. Like this year, that happened for the first time, on a big stage to me, and that's how I knew. I was like, I am connecting with these people on a different level
Yeah.
that I ever thought that I could do. Like I said, I brought the small stage feel to a big stage, and it was really, really cool.
Does that kind of like influence the way you write music going forward?
Not really. I always feel like my writing style. It's so funny because back to my buddy Matt. He used to call me the emo kid of country, emo boy of country. I started out writing like sad songs,
Uh-huh.
like oh man, like Back to You, Take Off. They were all like kind of on the gloomier side of stuff. And then I don't know. It always just like comes in seasons, because then I like write a song like Rock Good or Damn Good Time, and it's like a lot different energy as far as that goes. Like I know that my next album or projects that I'm going to be putting out, like we just got a recording back 2 days ago. It's like this song is finally finished, completed. We just got to get it out there to the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an upbeat song.
Yeah.
It's just like a feel good upbeat song. And then I know that I have like 3 songs that are just waiting, that are sad songs. So I don't know. It's just like, it's funny too, because being out in Nashville, your writing style changes, because sometimes you do co-writes,
Mm-hmm.
and you write with like 2 other people in the room or 3 other people in the room, and you just take like an idea that they had, and then you just work up and build up off of that idea.
Okay.
But all the songs that are coming out now, all of them are like my own solo writes,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of my stuff has been my own solo write. I think I've only put out 2 songs that are co-writes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everything that people hear from me are like my own words, if that goes to like show like what they're getting is like coming straight from the heart and soul,
That's cool.
rather than just like, oh, this sounds good because this is what's worked for other artists on the radio.
This will make money because Morgan Wallen said it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I was like they're actually getting a piece of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely a different feel compared to a lot of other artists. But I know that there's other artists out there who write all their own songs.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, like if I get an outside song, or like I co-write a song
Mm-hmm.
with other people, and it's awesome, and I get the opportunity to release it, I'm gonna release it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But definitely, in my upcoming projects, it'll be majority me.
That's cool.
And so I feel like the writing aspect of that, going back to the original question of big stages to small stages to trying to connect with people, I definitely feel like as long as the people can see that I'm trying to be authentic,
Uh-huh.
then the music will connect itself.
That's cool. That's freaking way cool. And like, I know we were talking a little bit earlier on the phone, and you're saying you're thinking about changing your style up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit maybe.
A little bit maybe.
A little bit maybe.
Does that influence the way you write music?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the other day, I had a co-write with my buddy Drew, who plays bass for me out in the East Coast, and McKinley,
Uh-huh.
lead guitar. And we're like, we're gonna try and do this genre mixed with this genre, and we came up with a song. We're like, yeah, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's definitely different ways that you can attack writing songs, as far as like going off of a genre that you think it would be prevalent,
Mm-hmm.
or that you think would work for a certain artist. Because like, obviously songwriters, like our goal is to have someone cut our own songs.
Uh-huh.
And like when I say someone, I'm hoping like it's someone like a Morgan Wallen, or like like a Hardy or those guys. And it's yeah, you just kind of have to write a song that you think maybe they might want to cut.
Yeah.
That's how some people write their songs too. But
I
it's different,
yeah.
doing that, writing for a genre rather than writing for yourself.
Well, I know that's how like a lot of artists blow up. Like I heard a podcast with Migos on it,
Nice.
and he was talking about he's like, yeah, I was in jail when Drake cut my song,
Mm-hmm.
and the like guards were singing it or whatever. So like he's like, oh shit, like it's happening. But
he's like sitting behind bars, like, it's me, bro.
yeah, he's like, man, my visits went from 0 to like popping off. But
That's sick.
Is that a weird way to write? Is like hoping someone cuts it, or not hoping, but like
Yeah, like with a certain artist in mind.
yeah.
I haven't had too many of those, so I don't feel like I can quite say much on the subject.
Okay.
Because when I go into those kind of writes, a lot of times I become like an auxiliary writer. I'm not like the guy who's like, oh yeah, they would definitely say this. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, maybe this wording could sound more like this.
Okay.
It kind of do. So I don't have really a whole lot to say on that.
I gotcha.
Maybe here within the next year, I'll have a lot more to say on that.
There we go.
Hopefully.
Big things coming.
Yeah, hopefully we are able to get a pub deal.
That's what we're talking about.
I was gonna say.
Kind of speaking on that, like what are your goals for the upcoming year?
Yeah, man. Play shows. Because we want to be able to keep up the at least the same amount of shows that we played last year. The size of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like this year, 2023, we had the opportunity to go to like Key West, Florida, and do the Key West Songwriters Festival. Been able to travel all over, the west, like flying out from Nashville to the West Coast. Like we did Idaho, Wyoming, Southern Utah, Central Utah, Nevada, all the way down to like Georgia, Kentucky. Like, you know what I mean? Like we've been able to travel quite a bit this year. So being able to keep that up, that's definitely one of the goals. This year I released 2 songs, New to Tennessee and Damn Good Time. This upcoming year I want to be able to release at least 3 to 4 songs. And like for like people might think, oh, that's not a lot. Like Morgan Wallen drops a double album.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
1,000 songs on it.
But he has that big shiny record
deal. Yeah, I was gonna say, So for independent artists, it's expensive to record songs. So if you see the little guys only putting out 1 or 2 songs a year, that's because they're paying with their wallet.
With their own money,
and they got to pay the guys who play it live too. They got to pay the guys who record on it. So, but yeah, my goal is definitely to release 4 songs this year. I think that's a good goal for me. And hopefully, push it really well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So not too big of crazy of goals, but I definitely think obtainable. Playing shows and, releasing more music.
Oh yeah. Do you have any like personal goals? Like I know we talked about like getting in the gym and like.
Yeah. So like right now, I'm down 10 pounds from what I weighed last year. I know that's not a lot, but for me, I mean, I weighed 170 all throughout high school. But so my goal right now, I'm about 182, probably
182
today. 175 is where I want to get down to.
Ooh, you're close.
Yeah. I was gonna say close. And I've been fluctuating. Last week I was like at 180. I'm only saying 182 because I ate a hefty breakfast today. And it's the holiday season. There's a lot of sweets and chocolates going around.
Oh yeah, you got to when it's a holiday season, man.
I know, yeah. So I got that goal, and then I was talking to our buddy Nate.
Yeah.
And we were thinking of doing like a half marathon together, or I want to do a triathlon.
That'd be cool.
I think doing a triathlon would be awesome. I watched my sister do it, and she crushed it. And so it's like I want to do something like that in my life. So then, like when I do have kids, and they get into something like that, where they have a goal in mind, I can always be like, I've done that. Like, yeah, it takes a lot of drive, and it takes a lot of time because we grew up in a sporting family.
Mm-hmm.
We played a lot of different sports, and so that's definitely something that I want to do. So then that way I can be able to tell my kids that I've done that.
Man, that's cool. Like that's on the same wavelength I kind of was like when we found out we were pregnant. I kind of spoke on it briefly, but like was like, man, I ain't no runner, but like I want to do is like our cousin Derek and me kind of decided to do like a Spartan race, and
Yep.
it's like I ain't no runner. Like I never did track. I went to one track practice and did not go back, but
I ran track.
yeah, he ran track. He was the runner of the family, but like
So
I was like, man, I'm gonna do a Spartan race because that's so out of my element. Like I want to like I know he's not here or anything, but like I want to like have that medal, like show him like yeah, I did that. Like even though you don't think you're meant for something, like you could still step out of your comfort zone and do it.
Absolutely. I was going to say that only helps you grow as a person, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because those kind of things, they take a lot of mental, focus to be able to finish those, to complete those. Um, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be so hard, doing the physical aspect of everything, but it's like training will get you there.
Yeah.
It's when you're doing it, can your mind stay in the game to get it done?
And that's like the hardest thing is like you're going through life during one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you really are because you start hopeful and you're like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like something happens. Like I got a cramp 2 miles into the 10K, and I was cramping up because I was doing 75 hard at the time and wasn't properly nourishing my body. And so my whole body was cramping up, like my upper body, my lower body. I think I kind of like strained something, or I don't know exactly what it was. I never got it checked out, but like 2 miles in, man, I was trying to walk through that, and like my whole mindset changed from like placing at a certain way or getting there to just finishing, and like still having that same goal. And it's like, man, I could just quit, or I could prove to myself like I may not finish like how I wanted to, but I'm still going to get across that line.
Exactly. I was like, you're still going to manage to get it done somehow.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and I think it's great because I mean, a lot of things in life are, am I just going to lay down and quit, or am I going to find a way to get it done?
Yeah.
Like raising a child.
Like raising a child.
Don't leave your kids.
Yeah, that's fucked. Just kidding. But I had a joke, but like so like I talk about like motivation and stuff like that, and finding motivation in life and coming up with our goals next year is a big thing. But like you look at your son or your kid, and that's that's motivation right there.
Yeah.
But like I feel like you need to be motivated from the inside out. Like even if you don't have a kid, like you're talking about, like future, and like your future should be motivation enough.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like always finding ways to better yourself and picture your growth and envision your growth. I think is always good, especially for people who are within our age group, within early to mid 20s, because you have your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
And to try and build something now that will sustain in the future, is definitely something that I think people should be focusing on. And I'm not saying like financially wise at all. I'm saying just like your health wise, your mental focus, your mental health. Any sort of way like that, I think is really big. And luckily, again, back to sports, I always say sports really helped me because it helped me get a good mental focus on things. It helped me, that mental toughness. And so, yeah.
And like kind of going on that, like just sports and stuff like that in general, I think you should always be like pushing towards something.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be that dude that comes up in conversation like, oh, what's he doing? And it's like, oh, he's nothing. Like he's not working on any. Yeah, you don't want to be that dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say you always want to be trying to make yourself better.
Yeah, and like maybe financially, or maybe you have like a hobby you're working on, or like even just like, oh, I'm gonna get better at snowboarding this year.
Yeah,
or like
I was gonna say like, or even like just the smallest of goals.
Yeah,
like taking out the trash.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
I'm gonna be better at cleaning.
Yeah, I'm gonna be better at cleaning. I'm gonna be better at doing house chores. Gonna be better at I don't know, showing my significant other that I love them.
Yeah,
those kind of things go a long ways, I think. And I think they're crucial in the way that we evolve as people in life.
I totally agree with that. Well, I'm talking your ear off. I know you got a show coming up tonight.
I love it, man.
Where are you playing at tonight?
Man, we're just doing a fun little acoustic strip down gig at the old Break in West Valley.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And then next week on the 30th, so after this podcast comes out, we're going to be at the Break in Murray.
Rick and Murray.
Yeah, yeah. I always love being able to, when I come home, play some acoustic shows.
That's awesome.
It grounds me and reminds me of where I started.
Yeah.
And also I get to play for the people who believed in me when I was first starting.
That's awesome.
So like the people who own the break, and run those organizations like Ryan. Love those guys. Love everyone over at the break organization. Because I mean, when I was, 18 years old, yeah, you can come play.
That's so cool.
So it's like being able to go back to those places like that is definitely fun when coming back home.
Taking that chance on you and
yeah, exactly.
Hoping you could perform and
yeah, exactly. I was like, they're the ones who believed in me first, and so anytime that I'm able to come and play, it's like the same with the Spur up in Park City.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they were completely booked out, which
shit.
is good for them. I mean,
yeah.
It was last minute, so anytime that I'm able to play at one of those places, I definitely try to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what time are you playing on the 30th?
Probably 8 o'clock is when we'll start. Probably 8 to 10, 8 to 11, depending on the time.
Oh yeah. So if you're hearing this, make your way out there.
Come see us.
Anything else you want to shout out?
Man, shout out to you. Thank you for having me on this awesome podcast. Always grateful for the opportunity, and for all the new viewers or dads out there who are curious or about these things that you're going through in life. I will say EJ, growing up, has been a stand-up guy, and always he's my little cousin, but he's someone who I definitely look up to in this life. So absolutely, this is a good person right here.
I look up to you, so
I love you, buddy.
Love you too. Great having you on.
Thanks for having me.
See you guys next week.